If you think you've seen complicated relationships, this story will change your mind. What happened that night still sends chills down my spine. I wanted to spark jealousy, but what I got instead was silence, the kind that cuts deep. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications so you don't miss any of our new stories. Now, let's begin. It all started on a Friday evening. My company had organized a dinner party to celebrate the end of a major project. I'd been working closely with my boss for months, and I knew my husband had started to notice how often his name came up in my conversations. A part of me, a foolish part, wanted to see if he still cared as much as he used to. The restaurant was dimly lit, music humming softly in the background. My husband sat beside me, quiet but observant. My boss arrived, smiling in that confident way that always seemed to draw attention. When he leaned in a little too close to whisper something, I didn't pull away. I caught my husband's eyes across the table, waiting for a reaction. Nothing. So I pushed further. A laugh here, a playful touch there. Every move, calculated. But his silence grew heavier with every passing minute. He didn't argue. He didn't glare. He simply watched, as if I were a stranger across the room. By the time dessert was served, guilt had replaced whatever thrill I'd been chasing. My boss was talking, but I could barely hear him. All I could think about was the cold distance in my husband's eyes, the kind that said, "You've already lost me." That night, on the drive home, the silence between us was louder than any fight we'd ever had. The drive home felt endless. The city lights blurred past the window, and every second of that silence scraped at my nerves. I wanted him to say something, to yell, accuse, anything. But he didn't. His hands stayed firm on the steering wheel, his face unreadable. When we finally reached home, I tried to break the ice. "Are you angry?" I asked softly. He didn't look at me. "Should I be?" His tone was calm, almost too calm. That question hit harder than I expected. I searched for words, excuses, anything that would justify what I did, but all that came out was a nervous laugh. "It was just a game," I said. "I wanted to see if..." He cut me off. "If I still cared?" His voice was quiet, controlled, and that made it even scarier. I stood there, frozen. The man who used to argue, defend, and fight for every misunderstanding was gone. All that was left was someone distant, someone I couldn't read anymore. "I saw what I needed to see tonight," he said, walking past me. "You wanted to test my love. I think you got your answer." I wanted to stop him, to explain that it was a mistake, that I only wanted to feel noticed again. But when he went into the bedroom and shut the door, I realized something. I'd played a game with feelings I didn't understand, and I might have just lost everything. That night, I lay awake listening to the faint hum of the ceiling fan, wondering when silence became our new language. The next morning, the bed beside me was empty. The smell of his cologne lingered faintly in the air, but his phone, watch, and wedding ring were gone. My heart sank. I called out his name, but there was no response, only the sound of birds outside and the ticking clock on the wall. I checked the kitchen, the living room, even the driveway. His car wasn't there either. Panic started to build. I tried calling him, but the call went straight to voicemail. I sent a text, then another, then 10 more. Still nothing. By noon, I sat on the couch staring at my phone, replaying last night in my head. Maybe I'd gone too far. Maybe he just needed space. But when I went to get a glass of water, something caught my eye, an envelope taped to the refrigerator door. My name was written on it in his handwriting. I tore it open. Inside was a short note. "You wanted me to feel something. Now I do. Don't look for me, not yet." I froze. Not yet? The words didn't sound like anger. They sounded planned, deliberate. That's when I noticed what was underneath the note, a small USB drive taped to the door. My hands trembled as I pulled it off. I didn't know what was on it, but a part of me was scared to find out. I plugged it into my laptop and waited. One folder appeared on the screen, titled Truth. When I opened it, I felt my stomach twist. There were photos. Dozens of them. Some were from my office party, others from places I didn't even remember being. He had been watching. Not just last night, for months. And at the bottom of the folder, one video file waited, labeled "You Needed Proof." I hovered my finger over it, knowing that whatever was inside would change everything. For a long moment, I just stared at the video file. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. I didn't want to press play, but curiosity has a cruel way of winning. The screen flickered, and there he was. My husband, sitting in his car, camera pointed at himself. He looked tired, eyes heavy with something between love and heartbreak. "If you're watching this," he began, "then you've already realized what you've done. I've been quiet because I wanted you to see yourself, to understand how far things went. You wanted me to feel jealous, but jealousy isn't what's killing us. It's the distance you created trying to get my attention." He paused, looking straight into the camera. "I didn't walk away because I stopped loving you. I walked away because love shouldn't have to prove itself." My throat tightened. I wanted to scream, to call him, to tell him I was sorry, but I just sat there, shaking. Then the video shifted. Hidden camera footage appeared, short clips of me and my boss at work, laughing, talking, moments I thought were innocent. Seeing them through his eyes, they looked different. Too close. Too personal. The video ended with one last message. "You taught me that silence can hurt. Maybe now it's your turn to listen to it." The screen went black. I sat in front of the laptop for what felt like hours, the silence swallowing me whole. He hadn't left out of anger, he'd left to show me what silence really sounds like when it's all that's left. And that was the moment I realized I'd crossed a line I could never undo. If you made it to the end, let me know what you think. Was his silence justified, or did he go too far? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on post notifications so you don't miss the next story.